Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for the topic of the top 10 mistakes that self-published authors make. I am April Cox, and it's a pleasure to be with you here today. I'm going to start with a little bit of a welcome and talk a little about my story, and then I will move into the presentation, the top 10 mistakes, and then we're going to move on to Q&A. So let's go ahead and get started. My name's April Cox again. I have a number of books that I have created under Little Labradoodle Publishing. I have been an author. This is my third year. And not only have I published books, but I have a real passion for trying to help others publish books as well. So along with my own books and activities, I also run courses, events like this, where we have topics and run through important information to help teach others self-publishing as well. One of the biggest problems that I see when it comes to self-publishing is that people just don't know where to begin. They don't know why it's so complicated, and there's lots of roadblocks and things that can get in the way. So to answer that, I came up with a course and a program, which I lovingly refer to as my author work group, called Self-Publishing Made Simple. And as we go through this, you may see some references to that in the slides, but I will also talk more about that at the end and answer any questions that you have in the Q&A. So the number 10, we're going to go count backwards from 10. So the 10 biggest mistakes that self-publishers make that cost a ton of money and add time to your schedule. They're not planning for your success, number 10. If you fail to plan, you may as well plan to fail. What are your goals? How are you going to get there? Anything in life that you need to do that's a major accomplishment, you should be putting a plan together to do that and get that roadmap get some proven resources to help you and get that step-by-step plan rather than just flying by the seat of your pants and trying to learn as you go, because that can be extremely expensive. I actually had an author recently share a story with me about her book. She ended up in my author work group, and she said she had spent so far a couple $1,000s, and she was just getting ready to restart her book because what she had done she felt wasn't a high enough quality. So she joined my group and started over. And I said, well, what did you spend that money on? And she said, learning. I made mistakes and I went with this illustrator and that person and started working through a lot of this stuff on my own. And it was mostly just learning. And so you don't want that to be the case. You want to be able to have a plan and be able to get through the proven roadmap and really have someone holding your hand to go through that. So that's my recommendation. Number 9, biggest mistake, not investing time to learn. There is a lot of things, because self-publishing covers a lot of territory. You have many hats you're going to wear. You're going to have a marketing hat. You're going to have a project management hat. You're going to be searching and researching things. There's a lot for you to learn. And if you know that up front and you give yourself time and invest the time in taking some courses, joining some groups, and give yourself time to research and learn, becoming an expert doesn't happen overnight. It takes an investment in time. And I think I've heard it takes 10,000 hours invested in something before you become an expert. So just make sure that you're aligning with courses, groups, activities that can help move you forward in your expertise, whether it's how to publish, how to market, or how to run ads and how to drive traffic and sales to your book. These things all require an investment in time and in training. So give yourself the opportunity to do that. Number 8, skipping a professional edit. I can't tell you how many people come to me thinking that they're ready to publish a book. And as a coach, as I review their book, the manuscript, and some of the things that they've done, I have to back them up and say, this needs some work on the editing side. And while I try to be kind but I need to speak the truth. And so it is not enough to just to have your neighbor, your friend, your relative, your daughter who may have a degree in English. That's not enough to be able to say, yes, I had a professional edit done. Hire a professional editor, and especially one that focuses on your genre. An editor that focuses on children's picture books and children's literature is very different than somebody who's going to focus on novels and adult literature. So you want to make sure that you have an experienced person on your side going through the developmental edit, the arc of the story. How does your story flow? How's the grammar? How's the rhyming? I wrote rhyming books for my children's book series. How did you do with the rhyming? Does the meter need to be adjusted? Because believe me, if you publish poetry or a picture book that has rhyme in it and it's not good rhyme, you will hear about it. I call them the rhyme and meter police. They will come in and they will talk to you about, or they'll leave negative reviews and tell you that you don't know how to rhyme. And I'm not one that can hear the meter. So I was very fortunate to have an editor who was really good with rhyme and meter and was able to go through that for me and help me correct some of those issues. So don't skimp on the professional edit. It will mean a lot to you, and having that person with suggestions is going to make a good book that you put forward into a great book. So hire a professional editor and do not skip that step. Number 7, poor quality illustrations. And this impacts children's book authors much greater than those that are writing novels, although they also have to worry about having a really good cover illustration. So when you're thinking about illustrations, having someone who is not experienced illustrating your book, that can cause a lot of issues. You want to make sure that your illustrations are professional. It doesn't mean that you have to pay a fortune. It's not, $20,000 to get a book created. You can find affordable resources. These here that I show are illustrations from others in my author work group, and those that I've coached that have beautiful illustrations, and the price is extremely affordable. So make sure that you do not skimp on those. If you're illustrating yourself, there's also great opportunities for you to get some assistance in organizing those illustrations or enhancing them to create something really beautiful. I've been fortunate to work with a couple of author illustrators, one of which had very simple illustrations, and her book was a very simple toddler book. I loved it, but she needed a little bit of help because she was still a novice illustrator. So I was able to match her up with an illustrator who took what she did and made it better. It was still her artwork, but by adding some shading and some things to it, it was able to create a really fantastic book. So that's also an opportunity for author illustrators as well. And having someone who will review your book coach you through it and let you know, hey, I can get you matched up with someone who can help you more with that. um, a coach, an editor, those are some of the people that will be there to tell you the truth, and not mom or dad or relatives, because they're going to just give you pats on the back and let you know this is wonderful. You want to find people that you can work with that are going to tell you the truth, and you want to invest in high quality illustrations, because remember, illustrations are, they say, half the story. I would say they're a lot more than half the story. Illustrations enhance your words. The visuals are what children, especially for children's books, those are what the children are going to use to capture their attention. They love bright colors, beautiful illustrations, and without that, you're going to lose them and your sales are not going to be there. So don't skimp on illustrations if you want to create a really high quality picture book. And if you are creating an adult literature or a middle grade book and all you need is a cover, wonderful. It's one illustration, front and back cover. Get a really good cover designer, and maybe hire a few people to give you some sketches and examples, and get the best possible version for yourself, and spend the time to really research great cover designers. That'll go a long way in making sure that your book sells. Number 6, not understanding the numbers. It is important, especially as a new and aspiring author, to know how much is it going to cost to publish your book. Where are you going to sell your books? What are the different channels? For example, there's Amazon, there's Ingram Spark, there's bookstores, there's events, there's school activities. What are you specifically going to do to get your books sold? How much will you make on each of the books? As far as knowing what those numbers are, understanding the options that are out there, and being able to walk through that process so that it's not a surprise. I've had a couple of folks that I've coached through this that just said, okay, I have a credit card. I'm just going to put all my things on there for my book. And before they know it, they're, $10,000 in, and had no idea they were going to spend that much. And now they're arguing with their spouse. Better to go and plan and understand what it is going to cost, what are the different activities that you are going to need to pay for, and run through that whole thing. And I have a copy, just a little screenshot here of a budget spreadsheet that I use with my students and in my courses to help students envision what that cost will be for their publishing their book. Number 5, trying to do it alone. Just because its title, it says self-publishing, it doesn't mean that you have to do it yourself. This is something that you should be taking advantage of individuals that are going to be involved to assist you. They are your coaches. They are professional editors, people that have been there and done this. The 4 must-have resources is a coach or mentor, and that could be somebody that has published a number of books themselves, a professional editor, a graphic designer to lay out and format your book, and your illustrator. So those are some must-have resources. Of course, some of you are going to want help with marketing, or somebody that can help you analyze and set up ads for you. But you don't have to do it all alone, and don't try to do everything yourself, because it takes time to learn these things. So when you think about what you want to do with your book, what are you good at? Some people are really good at marketing, or they're really good at writing and they love it, but they're not so good at marketing, or they're not so good at editing or keeping within a schedule. managing things, project managing what they're doing. They need an accountability partner. So know yourself. Think about the things that you do yourself versus the things that you'll need to bring other people in for. And you can ask authors for recommendations. You can join author illustrator groups, and you can find some really great partners there. There are critique groups and things like that that can be really beneficial. But find your community, find your people, and help one another to move things forward. Oh, I should go back. One more thing. I had, you can also find some of these resources on Upwork, Readsy, Fiverr. There are, work sites where you can say, search for a professional editor. Just be careful with some of these. Make sure you check, the feedback. Sites like Fiverr, especially, because you can get some really great prices, low prices, but resources come and go. People come and go. They seem to go on there and then they're off. And it doesn't happen with all of them, but I had a fantastic copy editor that I loved, and she was on for a few weeks and then she was gone, and I have no idea what happened to her. It seems like it was a temporary gig for her, and I lost a really important resource that I really enjoyed and loved, that I would have continued to work with, but I had no way of doing that. So and sometimes you can find resources on these sites that passing themselves off as a professional illustrator, for example, and you find out after working with them that that's just not the case. So be careful, buyer beware on some of those sites. You can definitely find better resources by getting getting referrals from authors and illustrators. And for those that I work with, I have recommended list of resources for illustrators, editors, graphic designers. So, you get the network and the community, which is a really important part of being able to move forward with resources that you can depend on. So you can do that yourself through author referrals. And if you're looking for help with finding resources, that's something that I can help with as well. Okay, number 4, a bad contract or no contract at all. I had a number of people, this is, has plagued folks that, they find an illustrator and they get some contract mailed to them, and it doesn't protect the author, or it's very heavily weighted towards the illustrator. They don't know what they don't know, right? You're reading a contract, you don't know, especially if there's royalties involved and you just don't have experience in those areas. It's going to be very difficult to understand what you're signing. There's also some that just don't do any contract at all and live to regret it later when there's no agreement, or the author thinks they own the copyright to the illustrations. The illustrator says, no, I own the copyright, and you suffer from trying to figure out what is this agreement that we came up with? How is I would say when you're in doubt, you're going to have to, consult a legal professional. There are templates out there, and if you belong to professional associations like the Authors Guild or the Society of Children's Book Authors and Illustrators, they may have resources for you that you can use. I do have a template that I provide. I have a number of templates like NDAs and author illustrator contracts and things like that that you can use as a starting point for yourself as well. And of course, there are also places where one that I found that's worth mentioning, the Authors Guild, is one that has given a really great, they have a legal advice area where you can submit something to them, a document, a contract, and they have legal professionals on staff that will respond to you and give you answers or raise any concerns that they see with the contract or with the document. So that's a really important benefit for those of you who are looking to join an organization. The Authors Guild is one that you might want to go ahead and include. Okay, next. Number 3, the third biggest mistake I see, delaying marketing. This is huge. Marketing is not easy for authors. It really is an issue where, most of us love to write. We love to work on our books. But when it comes to selling the books or marketing the books, we just don't have that. We don't have that ability, and it doesn't come as naturally. It should not be an afterthought, because the thing that we think that we fear the most or that we feel like we're not good at tends to become an afterthought. And it can honestly take months of marketing to prepare for your book launch. So you really want to be doing that and starting your marketing plan now. Wherever you are in your process, if you've not started it, start it now. If you're planning on writing a book, start now. Start now with your marketing, because you can build relationships. You can find influencers. You can create your social media. Follow influencers, comment on their posts. Follow other people who are authors and who are writing their books. So marketing can just be learning about marketing at the very beginning. And then it becomes actually putting your marketing plan together and following that plan from research and background, creating your marketing plan, developing content and things that you're going to need to use for your marketing. Things like a press kit, things like audio, video types of things you can use in your ads, emails that you'll send to influencers, communications that you're going to need to send. There's a lot of things that go into marketing your book. So don't leave it as an afterthought. Be very specific and make that a priority. The things that you hate to do or that you're not good at, those are the areas where you should be spending most of your time as you're learning and growing as an author. Number 2, predatory publishers. There are so many things that I could say about this, and this is one of the biggest areas where so much money gets spent on publishers that are hybrid publishers or vanity presses. If they contact you and tell you they want to publish your book and they ask you for money to pay for it, that is not a traditional publisher. That is a hybrid or a vanity press. You want to make sure that you are able to, you're able to get, the self-publishing will get you much closer, much less expensive. I have seen people pay $20,000 to $30,000 with these hybrid publishers, or what I'll call predatory publishers. They create books in sizes that are not standard. When the author tries to get their book back, they can't get it back without having to pay. They don't have access to marketing for their books. They don't even own the rights to their own book, even after paying all of that money. So don't get duped into a predatory publisher. You can self-publish, and it's not a huge issue. It is complex, it's going to be hard work, but if you've got a program or a coach walking you step by step through the process, it doesn't have to be a daunting task. It doesn't have to cost $30,000, and you can be successful in doing that. So don't fall for the predatory publishing. You can do the self-publishing yourself. And that's why I created the Self-Publishing Made Simple course, because I wanted to help people who were falling for some of these predatory publishers, and help people to be able to do it themselves and to walk through the complexities. The number one biggest mistakes that self-published authors make is giving up. They never get to the publishing, or they publish and then give up because it's hard work to sell a book. When it comes to who wants to write a book, there's I think it's 81% or 80% of people surveyed say that they have a book in them and that it should be written, that there's something, that a burning story or platform that they need to write about. But only 1% of those ever finish it. So why do so many give up? It is hard work. There's a lot of steps. Life happens, distractions come, pitfalls and stumbles across along the way, imposter syndrome. There's so much that can derail your work, and you really want to be able to finish. So don't give up. Get some help to stick to it. That means that could be getting an accountability partner, joining a group, get a coach or mentor or a course that will take you step by step through the process, so that you're able to get the help you need and you won't fall and get distracted without having people pulling you back and saying, let's go, how are you doing, let's keep it going. So make a plan, tell other people, and reach out for support if you start to feel like you're frustrated and ready to give up. I can't tell you how many authors I feel like I've talked off the ledge, and sometimes there's kind of a running joke of, I'm a doctor of publishing, and sometimes that requires listening to just frustrations and just letting people share their frustration and encouraging them to get them to keep going. And it's important to have someone you can reach out to. It doesn't have to be me with my coaching. It can be anybody. You can have that accountability partner, join a group, whether it's a writing group or a self-publishing group. Get the help you need and get that community of people that are going to cheer you on, because that is going to help you to move forward in those times of frustration. Okay, so recap of the top 10 mistakes. 10, no plan for success. Number 9, not investing time to learn. Number 8, skipping the professional edit. Number 7, poor quality illustrations. Number 6, not understanding the numbers. Number 5, trying to do it alone. Number 4, having a bad contract or no contract at all. Number 3, delaying your marketing. Number 2, getting involved with predatory publishers. And number 1, giving up. So the solution, one solution that I would like to propose for you is to consider joining my Self-Publishing Made Simple. I do have a number of benefits here that I'm highlighting. I have a new group that's starting on August 18th. It is going to be a 12-week group. We have, it's made specifically for new and aspiring authors to help you create high quality books, to go have a structure and accountability. You will receive assignments and videos. You'll have live sessions with me and coaching one-on-one, and you'll have a very strong community that will also help root you on and keep you going and reduce some of that stress and frustration. So, again, the new group is starting August 18th, and if you want to learn more about the group, you can visit www.thelittlelabradoodle.com, and you will go to the author services and the self-publishing made simple work group. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and invite questions. You can feel free to go ahead and ask your questions, and feel free to take yourself off of mute. Let me unmute everyone.
Okay, I'll start.
Okay.
Number 3 on the marketing author platform. I know I've been with you for a while, but still that author platform to me is such a general term. Can you maybe explain it a little bit to me and Sherry? I'd appreciate it.
Sure, Stella.
Yeah.
Yes, and I probably should have talked a little bit more about that during that slide. So when I say work on your author platform, it is, what is your following? How many email addresses do you have? What type of following do you have in social media? Now, you don't have to have all of these different social media accounts, but pick one or two that you really want to focus on and develop followers. Follow people that are like-minded, reach out to influencers. Another platform would be your website. As an author, as a new and aspiring author, you might want to have, just a one-page website about yourself, maybe a blog. That's a part of your author platform as well, where you can write and write about what your book is about and share those articles. Get to create that following, whether it's in join Facebook groups that will help you develop collaborations and friendships that are going to be there to help you and cheer you on as you go as well. So working on that's what I consider your author platform, is all the different places that you're building a following, you're building fans, and take them on your journey. If today is day one and you are a new or aspiring author, tell somebody that you're writing a book. Post it on your social media. I've decided, I think I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to, and you can give sneak peeks of things. You can take them on their journey and make them want to follow you. Maybe they'll sign up for your email list. Maybe they will, when you're ready to go, they'll be cheering you on, and they'll be one of the first ones to click when you've got a new book for download or to purchase. But you've got to build that platform, because if you don't have the followers, family, friends, colleagues, like that, all of those people that are going to be rooting you on, those are the people that are going to help you with sales, help share your posts, share information about your book, and not just share it, but endorse it and say, you've got to check out this new book. It's great. Who's going to do that for you? If you don't have an author platform with a following, then when you publish your book, you could be publishing to crickets.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a wonderful evening.